president appears torn between preserving the economy and keeping people in their homes in light of the recent spikes in the transmission of COVID-19 in the provinces. To tell us more about this, we have Maricel Halili reporting live from Mandaluyong. Maricel, what precisely is causing the president's dilemma?
Yes, Charles, if you recall, the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or the IATF, has recently decided to impose or to lower down the age restrictions of those who can get out of their houses and go to the malls and other businesses. From age 15, they decided to bring it down to 10 years old up to 65 years old. But this is one of the dilemmas of the president, because he needs to balance the safety of the public in terms of their health and the opening of the economy.
Right, Maricel, the president did reverse the IATF's resolution on those minors who are allowed to stay at home or required to stay at home. But then what precisely caused the president to decide against the easing of restrictions?
Actually, Charles, the president is concerned about the new variant of COVID-19, which was detected in the country. He is concerned that it might be spread in different provinces. As we all know, there are already 12 cases in Bontoc. There is another in Calamba and another one in Quezon City. And so he doesn't want this new variant to be spread all throughout the country. And to be able to prevent this, he decided to revoke the order of the IATF to implement the age restriction from 10 years old and above. Instead of 10 years old, he decided to bring it back to 15 years old up to 65 years old.
Right, that being said, Maricel, if the president's not keen on imposing another lockdown on the general population, how then are they proposing to address this high transmission rate in the provinces?
He reiterated the need for the implementation or strict implementation of the minimum health standard. But I think it's also good to take note, Charles, that today the members of the IATF will have another meeting to talk about the lockdown and the possible changes of the community quarantine come February. And of course, one of their considerations is the critical level of the healthcare utilization in some of the provinces. Health Secretary Francisco Duque mentioned that Baguio City, the likes of Davao de Oro, and Compostela Valley are already on critical level in terms of their healthcare utilization. So they have to consider these things in deciding whether to change the community quarantine come February.
All right, let's talk about vaccines for a bit. In his report, we have Secretary Galvez mentioning the possible early rollout of vaccines from the WHO's COVAX facility. What are the implications of this?
Actually, it's a good move from the COVAX facility to allow the Philippines to be one of the countries which will receive vaccines, particularly Pfizer, from the COVAX facility, because it means an early vaccination to our frontliners. But of course, Secretary Galvez mentioned that one of the challenges now for the government is to convince the people that these vaccines are safe, especially after reports that there are adverse effects in some of the countries or some of the people in other countries who were vaccinated by certain brands. So Secretary Galvez mentioned that they need the help of the president and of course the communications department to help the people or to help convince the people that these vaccines are safe.
Right, Maricel, the president did say that the critics of the government's vaccine procurement plan did more harm than good, actually. What's his basis for saying this?
Yes, Charles, if we recall, some of the senators or some of the critics of the administration are very vocal in criticizing the prices of the vaccines. They feel that it can be lowered down. But President Duterte said that their criticisms have no effects on the prices of the vaccines, whether it comes from China or from Western countries. He said during his press briefing or his talk to the people last night that all these critics did was to mess up the issue on vaccine.
Right. In addition to that, the president mentioned something about stabbing certain people who have used his name in relation to corruption. Could you give us the context of the president's statement?
Yes, Charles, as we all know, the president is a bit sarcastic when it comes to issues that are part of his advocacy, such as drugs and corruption. Last night, during his Talk to the People address, he mentioned that the people can stop or stab those involved in corruption instead of just shooting them, because if they use guns are quite noisy. So it's better to stab them. But of course, he is sarcastic in his remarks. Actually, the context of this statement is the usage of the names of some cabinet secretaries and even the president himself to conduct corruption in processing the papers in the government. And so the president actually warned these people who are involved in corruption that he will not stop fighting it.
Thanks for that, Maricel. That was Maricel Halili reporting live from Mandaluyong.